You know, I just know ain't no NBA player gonna be messing with her. She look like a single Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread, or the bread that wonders. All of the above, the above all. I took my watches and stuff off. I'm partial sleepy.
You use them bullets.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna put something back in and say you
It's a part of me.
I think I might be here all the life, my man.
You got arthritis. Arthritis where your ass or your foot.
You give you arthritis when I put my foot in your hand. When you call it arthritis, then they're going to remove my foot.
Right. I'm calling the folks.
People want this time to go to the liquor store damn bad.
I don't really want. It's like it's a bittersweet situation. I hate the Lakers. I absolutely hate them. It's like damn. I'd rather him go wherever he has to go to beat them. To beat the Warriors. Honey Nut Cheerios. All right, once again, back in the building. I only see one viewer. See, that's what I'm looking at. When I be looking at it, it only shows. But if you there, see, it's only showing one viewer for some reason. And I'm not, which am I tuned into? Yeah, I'm on my account. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Now it shows two.
I was going to back out and go back in. What is that saying? One on mine too.
I don't know what's going on. $10 saying. We don't go on anything. God, forgive me. All right. So now I want to do this and polygamy debate. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. So now it shows one viewer again.
How?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what the fuck did I do? Here's the conjecture and the deflection that I'm getting. If we can get a straight answer, let your yay be yay, your nay be nay. One, you said we got to deal with what's in the scripture. What is a sin according to the Bible?
Now we all know that sin, according to the Bible, is transgression of the law. 1 John 3 and 4.
Where in the law does it say it's a sin to have multiple wives?
Okay, so now when it comes down to the context of what he's trying to do, he wants to back you into basically saying that the laws are only found in the first 5 books. But laws are written all throughout the Bible. Laws are just as good as commandments. Laws are just as good as commandments. You can't break either one. Wherever we read in the Bible, thou shalt, thou do not do this, those are commandments. You break or go against any of those, it's just as good as breaking the law.
During this time,
so
be the husband of one wife. If you want to be my deacon or my bishop.
Christ, wait. Christ, so when Christ said not one jot nor one tittle, you mean to tell me that Christ came to change the law of wives?
Christ never changed the law. He put a correction in the law. He put a correction in the law. That's why we read in Matthew. Let's go there. Let's go to Matthew's. Yeah, he magnified the law. So don't ever let these brothers, these smooth talk, you try to back you into these corners. Christ magnified the law. Let's actually but let's go to a point where Christ was correcting the law concerning wives to begin with. And when we go to Matthew chapter 19, because what's going on right now, when they read in the first 5 books, they read in the laws in Moses' time, right? They're reading the books of Moses. And we're not saying that Moses' laws are done away with. No, we don't teach that. The whole Bible still stands. But there are some changes. There are some, I wouldn't even necessarily call them changes. There are some things where the Most High, where Christ put it under the light to give you a full understanding of it, to let you know that, yeah, it was said this, but you're misunderstanding it. You're taking it and running with it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? One of the clearest examples of that, when we go to Matthew chapter 19 and we read verse 7 down, verse 7 says, they say unto him, why? Well, we got to read it, verse 6. Wherefore, they are no more twain, but one flesh. Wherefore, What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? Right? So Moses, in the time of Moses issued what we would call a divorce today. He issued in divorce papers. Well, what did Christ say about that? Let's just to show you that certain things that was going on in Moses' time, Christ magnified it and said, no, these things are not so. They shall not be. It was never intended to be. Watch this. Let's pick up Matthew chapter 19, verse 8.
Matthew chapter 19 and verse 8. He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. Where from the beginning it was not so.
Hold your peace, brother. Hold your peace. Hold your peace. Let us finish the verse. Read it again.
Man, I ain't say nothing.
No.
He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so.
It was not so. Watch this. Read on. Said because of the hardness of your heart. So back in those days, brothers was just finding any reason to divorce a woman. Did you take that other one you had in the freezer out? Watch this. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whosoever marry her, which is put away, does commit adultery.
Right. So Christ also came and put a fine stipulation on what was the only cause you could leave your wife. So that clearly shows us that certain things that was going down in the times of Moses, Christ said no. Those things are not to be. They were not meant for these reasons. Moses instituted these things because of stipulation that was going on at the time. Like one of the most famous scriptures y'all like to run to. As a fact, we're gonna let yield the mic real quick, let the brother speak his piece, and then we're gonna debunk it. You know what I'm saying?
Talking about 8:21?
No, I'm not. There's a law on how to govern. There's a law on how to govern your multiple wives.
So he said there's a law on how to govern your multiple wives. Let me speak.
So I can go through it.
Deuteronomy chapter 21.
Deuteronomy 21.
Okay. Chapter 21.
I guess you want verse 15.
All right. You want us to read it, or you got it?
Deuteronomy 21, 15 says, if a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, verse 16, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which was indeed the firstborn. So here you have Moses teaching you how to govern your two wives, dealing with the inheritance of your firstborn. He didn't say if you have two wives, you've already committed sin. He didn't say if you have two wives, put away one. He said if you have two wives, this is how you deal with it.
I got you.
All right. So now, we heard that, right? All right. So now, they jump to verse 15 because it sounds like it's it backs their side, right? But now, what we have to do is let's go back and get the context of why that was written. Why did Moses institute this? Let's see. Let's jump back to verse 1 real quick. Let's get the context. So let's jump back to verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 1. If one be found slain in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who hath slain him. You read?
Matter of fact, let's just jump down a little bit. Let's go to let's jump down to verse 10. Verse 10.
Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 10. When thou goest forth to war against thy enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them in thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive.
So this is talking about when we going into war to take over land. And we conquering the enemies, right? Now, does a war last 2 or 3 days?
It can last a little longer.
The wars can last years.
Yeah, it can last a little longer.
Now, you got men out there in the midst of war. They will be missing their wives. They will be missing the duties that the wives will fulfill. So now, keep that in mind. Now let's read on.
And seest among the captives.
So remember,
woman.
This is us at war. So is this actually Israelite women that we reading about here?
No.
Okay. So now, and seest amongst the captives what?
A beautiful woman, and has desired unto her that thou wouldest have her to thy wife.
Come on.
Then thou shalt bring her home to thy house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall put the raiment of her captives from off her, and shall remain in thy house, and beware her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in into her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And if it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whether she will. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. If a man have 2 wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers, that was hated. All right,
so now, when we read this, the context is not talking about a man, he married an Israelite woman, then went out and saw another Israelite woman that he wanted and married her. This was talking about when we went to war and we conquered a nation. If there was a woman amongst them that was beautiful, because you gotta remember, and a war would last, who knows how long a war would last. Some brothers would get out there and they would start missing the duties of a wife. And instead of them running way back home to the homeland to lay with their wives, most okay, well, take this beautiful woman of the other nation, shave her head, and make her basically a concubine.
Right.
You would be a wife to you. But if she had no delight in If you had no delight in her, you was free to let her go.
Right.
You couldn't sell it, but you could let her go. So now, with that being said, where in the law can you lay with an Israelite woman and just let her go? You can't. So this is not talking about a man going out having multiple wives. This is talking about a man who took a captive. He took a captive. And now let's say he created a child with this woman. If this child had his firstborn, he could not neglect that firstborn. He could not just neglect the firstborn because she is hated and the Israelite woman is loved.
Right.
He could not just neglect the firstborn. The inheritance still went to the firstborn because that child is still an Israelite, though the mother is a heathen.
Right.
Or was taken through captive. Because you got some brothers, they will have a wife, then they'll have a baby on the outside, and then they'll neglect that baby simply because they don't love the mama.
Right.
But if that woman that was on the side so happened to have that first child, the inheritance goes to that child, whether you wipe the mother or not.
Right.
So this here was not condoning you having you going out and marrying 2 or 3 Israelite women. Next.
Exactly. Any other scripture to back up they claim.
Right. And I'm waiting for you to go to Exodus 2.
Bro, we just discussed it, man. Why
So-
you getting all uptight?
Well, here's the reason. Here's why I don't think you guys are coming. I can't speak on everybody else, but here's why I think you're not coming in sincere. I asked you 2 questions. I asked you a
That's
question.
even
You
for
gave
mine,
2,
brother. That's
but you gave two different answers.
The answer was the
And
scripture.
I said, speaking of
The answer was the scripture. You said Deuteronomy, we went to Deuteronomy, and when we break the scripture down, so now this is where these brothers messed up. They didn't know history.
If you want yay or nay, and it's not. In the scripture, some things aren't just.
Them brothers was unlearned.
Some things aren't just black and white. Like when you go to the scenario when the brother.
And that's the thing, it is black and white. The scriptures speak.
Law that says,
All you gotta do is know what you're talking about.
if I don't take my brother.
What it is he pressing them and they can't handle it. So now they probably just don't learn.
together.
Okay, go
If
ahead.
one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. So
What verse is
it
that?
wasn't about him stealing the seed. He didn't go into his brother's wife, and that was the transgression. But go ahead and show me the scripture where Christ says you can't have multiple wives.
Salaki. What he just read is about the law, about the brother going into the.
What happened with Onan?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he just read. That has nothing to do with multiple wives. Okay, so continue.
All right, this is Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 47. He has heard,
This dude here is fucking getting slaughtered. And it's all based off of him not having understanding, not knowing the law. So we're gonna deal with it. Let's get to it. Let's get to the verse.
all right, I pulled that to make a simple point of the lust aspect and how you can't take a woman for lust. Not saying that brothers are taking a woman for lust, but that's just establish that first. Matthew chapter 19.
Let's get to the script. Let's get to the script. We arguing polygamy, multiple wives.
Actually, sorry,
All this stuff that, like, this is how you knew that the brother is unlearned.
what's the matter?
That's how you know the brother was unlearned. The scriptures that he was
He
quoting.
answered and said, have you not read that he was made them at the beginning, made them male and female, and said, but this cause
And he did them like how most people would do. When you smell blood, you go in.
and shall flee.
You go in. And I smell blood all day long. This brother don't know what he's talking about.
So Christ said they twain shall be one flesh. When you look up that word twain, it means two. They two shall be one flesh. Now I have a question for you, brother. Is Genesis part of the law, part of the Torah?
I asked you, where is Christ teaching that it's a sin? That's what I'm asking.
We answered
All right, so now,
that there's no scripture that tells you we answered
when we read in the scriptures tell us clear as day.
we answered you earlier.
Hear ye him. When Christ said that be blameless, be the husband of one wife, that's a command.
Thank you. Because you gave me 3 answers. This is your third answer.
No,
You had
hold on.
one answer, then you had 2 answers, then you just gave a third answer.
no, you can't. You know the scripture. First Timothy.
Well, let's read it.
Let's go. First Timothy
First Timothy chapter 3.
chapter 3.
And
First Timothy chapter 3
be blameless.
and First Timothy chapter 3. And let's start at 1.
First Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. This is the true saying. If a man desires the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. A bishop then must be blameless.
He must be blameless. There's nothing you can confound him on. There's nothing you can point. And to be blameless is to be spotless. Come on.
The husband of one wife.
So that's it. That's all we really hear. The husband of one wife. The husband of one wife. Now jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Let the deacon be the husband of one wife, ruling their children and their house well.
Right. So the scriptures is telling you straight up, he should be the husband of one wife. The bishop and the deacon should be the husband of one wife. And it's the when we read about the bishops, we know that the scriptures always tell us the young men likewise. When we read about the aged men, the Bible tells us about the young men likewise. Let's see if we can find it real quick. See if we can find it. Give me a second. Let's go to Titus 1:6.
Titus chapter 1 and verse 6. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faith, children not accused of riot or unruly. For a bishop must be blameless as the steward of God.
Now, I went there for a reason. The reason I wanted that is because it says, if any be blameless, the husband of one wife. So this is clear. This is clear. The husband of one wife. The husband of one wife. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife. Then it goes, for a bishop must be blameless. All right, so now, with that being said, let's see. Let's go. The husband of one wife. All right.
Sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality after speech. So that's talking about the bishop. Now get down, let's read about the deacon. Get down to verse 10. We're speaking to Deacon Akai. Let's keep that in mind. Verse 10. And let these also first be proved. Then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Even so, must their wives.
These brothers, the brothers that they debated, they basically beat them brothers because they were unlearned. And so they couldn't even catch the semantics when it was being thrown at them. He was playing semantics on them. He was throwing circles around them.
So,
Okay. You know what I'm saying?
So that's
go ahead.
I told you that if you're driving,
I'm waiting. This brother here, he should just threw in the towel.
That yes,
He unlearned.
Disobedience is,
And it's clear, completely unlearned. Like,
and the scripture clearly said,
I don't know it all, but hell, this brother here is.
okay. So now you're telling me, where does it say that transgressing Paul's writings is against the? Matter of fact, here's a better question, which is a great question. So does that mean that Christ or Paul couldn't be bishops?
Now, once again, here's semantics. Because Christ or Paul wasn't married. So what does that have to do with having multiple wives?
Right.
What was that?
You know what I'm saying? Were they leaders? Absolutely.
Right.
I'm asking,
Was Christ ever called a bishop in the scriptures?
what Paul
Absolutely. But he was not married. So the him having to have one wife wouldn't matter because he didn't have a wife at all.
Right.
The high priest.
That's semantics to the max. You gotta try better than that. You would never get me with that. You would never get me with that. Only you can get an unlearned person.
Yeah, being an elder.
a leader and an elder. So is Christ not a leader?
Absolutely.
What about James? What about, yeah, he was an elder. He was an elder and a leader. So that means that Christ couldn't be a bishop according to you if you believe that's what Paul's saying. So let me read this. Deuteronomy 4.
No,
You shall not add to the word.
I'm not saying that Christ couldn't be a bishop because he didn't have a wife. I'm saying that the argument about him not being a bishop, you use him as some type of cover up to have multiple wives would be false as a bishop because of the fact that he didn't have one wife.
Right.
So let alone what the hell does he have to do with multiple wives?
Right.
Which I command you, neither shall you diminish from it.
I can't believe these brothers let these guys back them in the corner with that.
God, which I command you. Well, okay, Con, you guys said that a bishop must have one wife according to Paul, because you think that's what it means.
Where did we say that? When did we say that a man must have one wife? No, we never said that. What we said was if he has a wife, he must be the husband of one wife. Never said that he has to have a wife.
Right.
Nobody ever said he has to have a wife.
Right.
The argument is that if you have a wife, you can't be taking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have to be the husband of one wife. Just like Adam had one wife.
Is Christ a bishop?
Absolutely. Now, once again, this is how you knew he was dealing with brothers that was unlearned.
Hey, hold on a second.
You knew he was dealing with brothers that was unlearned. That's when he started playing with it.
Shalom, can you hear us?
I hear y'all.
All right, we're back.
Yeah. So now I'm asking, y'all said that in order to be a bishop, you have to have one wife, right?
Okay, that's what they said. We didn't say that.
The scripture said that.
Okay. So according to your understanding, here's why I'm going to show you why your understanding is flawed of that scripture. Was Christ a bishop?
Yes.
What? Can you get to your point?
Listen. This brother Michael has to stand on his square. I'm going to have a Bible.
Michael.
I am.
Stop talking to your fans and talk directly to your brother.
I'm talking to Michael. He's asking you guys questions. Tell him to stand on his square and deal with me man to man.
See, Michael, you confounded it. Me, I know. Christ was a bishop.
The scripture never calls Christ a bishop.
That's where he gets shocked.
The scripture never calls Christ.
You're going to get shocked because that's not true. That's not true.
Here we go. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 25.
Yeah, he was ready. You saw it happen. He was.
But are now repaired unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls. Y'all need to repent for lying.
We need to repent for lying.
You just lied and said the Bible never called Jesus Christ a bishop.
Okay, that means I made a mistake. Okay, that means I made a mistake. Okay, that means I made a mistake.
Okay, then because he's saying that according to his flawed understanding of what Paul is saying, that you have to have one wife in order to qualify to be a bishop.
Okay, so now, just to make sure we have this clear, that's what they said. Here at One Nation, we never said you had to have a wife. We just said you couldn't have multiple wives. Difference. Now, Mike, y'all believe that you have to have a wife? Okay, that's what you believe. I'm guessing off of your stance, the deacon, I'm guessing off of your stance, you saying that you can have how many other wives you want and still be a bishop here at One Nation. I'm saying no. The scriptures say the husband of one wife. So I'm saying you got to have one wife. I'm not saying you got to have one wife. I'm saying that if you have a wife, you can't have multiple. It has to be one. And if you don't have a wife, you can still be a bishop.
Right.
All right. So now, let's talk some more.
I mean, why do you like that?
Christ has none.
Bingo. So how was Christ a bishop then?
I'm not. I know what my beloved brother Paul is talking about. You don't.
If you had to have one wife, then how was Christ a bishop? Because he didn't have any wives. So that's clear that you don't have to have a wife to be a bishop.
Right.
But what we're not going to do is sit here and say the scripture don't say that if you're a bishop, you can only have one.
Right.
All right.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 37.
All right.
If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of the Lord.
All right. So
what did Paul say he writing?
Paul said he writing commandments of the Lord. I agree with that.
Because it's letting you know that he's writing the commandments of the Lord, it's showing you that he has some type of higher understanding of the law that they didn't have, the Pharisees didn't have, and they were scholars in the law.
Okay, can we stay on that? Not to cut you off, but let's stay on that subject before we even go to 1 Corinthians 7. You did. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 8 and 8. Okay, the last thing that I wanted
8 and 8, let's get it.
Before it cut out, I wanted you guys to read 2 Corinthians 8:8, because the brother mentioned that everything Paul is writing is commandments, but in 2 Corinthians 8 and 8 it says, I speak not by commandment, but by occasion of the forwardness of others, and to prove the sincerity of your love. And here's another one as well. Matter of fact, I do have a question. Is everything that Paul was speaking of the Lord?
First of all, you pulled a scripture, and I'm glad you pulled that scripture. Do you want to explain what Paul meant by that, or do you want to just pull the scripture?
I can show you all throughout his writings, him admitting and confessing that he's not speaking by commandment, and these aren't commandments that he's writing.
Let's go to the scripture that you pulled though, and explain that scripture.
Well. Let's get one first, because a lot of people like to say that. So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And let's get verse 6. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 6. And then I'm going to read the definition of this word while we at it.
1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 6. But I speak this by permission, and not of commandment.
All right, so Paul said he speak this of permission and not of commandment. So now let's see what the damn definition of permission is. The definition of permission: consent, authorization, an official document giving authorization. Authorization, consent, authority, sanction, license, acquiescence, agreement, approval, allowance. So
now, anybody with common sense who knows that word permission, when you was a child, had to ask permission to go outside.
Bingo. So we read here clearly that Paul had permission to write what he wrote. So Paul didn't just go on his own understanding of what he felt and just wrote anything in the book. Because then that would contradict the Bible saying that this was written by any private interpretation.
Right.
Now, if you will sit here and tell me Paul sat there and wrote his own opinion, now I'm going to say that we might as well throw the book away because the book just lied to us.
Right. That's true.
The Bible clearly states that he wrote what he wrote by permission,
right,
consent, authorization.
Right.
Well, whose book is this? So who authorization did he get?
Right.
None other than Christ and the Lord himself.
Right.
All right, so that's my argument on that piece. Y'all go ahead.
2 Corinthians 8:8. Okay. Paul is giving instructions. And he says, let's start at verse 7. Therefore, as ye abound in everything, in faith, in utterance, in knowledge, and in all diligence, and in your love to us, see that ye abound in this grace also. I speak not by commandment, but by occasion of the forwardness of others, and to prove the sincerity of your love.
Okay,
so what is he saying then?
He's saying
he commandments, like he's not speaking commandments, but what is he saying?
He's exact. That's it. It's clear. It's in black and white. I mean, it's plain.
Okay, brother, you just avoided the question because he asked you what is he saying.
I don't have it. Then you explain it. Explain it.
Why do we have to explain the scripture you pull? I'm explaining what I'm pulling.
It's the same thing. I'm not.
Hold on. Why do we have to explain what you pull? We explaining what we pulling. It just said the same thing. He didn't speak this by commandment. But guess what? When Paul, in the spirit, when things led Paul, he didn't just write what he felt.
Right.
He was giving consent to write these things. So guess what? If he had consent to write it, it's something that needed to be performed.
Right.
Nothing in this book is a suggestion, man. The Lord ain't here the suggestions.
Not at all.
Go ahead, man. Y'all do you.
But this is typically when we have the conversation with people that call themselves Christians. We go to one scripture, they say you can save the nation. We go to Psalm 147. You now have the contradiction.
No. Let me reconcile what I'm saying. Some things Paul was writing through the Spirit, of course, that gave him charge. Some things Paul was writing that were commandments. We clearly see it. This I speak not by commandment. This I speak by advice.
You just said the same thing twice.
But not expedient, meaning that it's not a law that you can't do certain things, but it may not be expedient, which is why I said a lot of things that Paul was given was advice, and I can prove it with more precepts. So what is where there is no law, there is no sin mean?
All things are not good, but all things are not unlawful, but they may not be expedient.
Absolutely. Listen, I said it's figurative, just like Ephesians 5:23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Just like Brother Alazar just brought out in the comment. So again, I'm saying it's figurative. And even if I was to entertain that it wasn't figurative, it's advice. We clearly see that it's not in the law. Where there is no law, there is no sin. So if you can't find a law against it, then I'm not sinning by doing it. Christ's teachings. Why would Christ give an allegorical parable of having 10 wives? A righteous allegory of having 10 wives.
Okay, now let me chop your head off. First of all, the allegory about the 10 wives had nothing to do with them actually being wives. It had nothing to do with them actually being 10 wives. A man having 10 wives. The allegory about the 10 wives was about 10 being foolish and 10 being wise. It was an allegory about those who would keep the commandments, which was the oil. They would take the laws with them, wisdom with them, the commandments with them, and 5 didn't.
Right.
And some of them would sleep and slumber until the day that Christ came back.
Right.
And it would be too late for them. Right. Those who took the oil, the commandments, the wisdom, and the laws, and they performed those duties, they went into the marriage chamber with Christ. It had nothing to actually do with him having multiple wives. It was simply a breakdown and an analogy, an allegory of them keeping some keeping the laws and some Israelites keeping the laws and some Israelites not. You would never beat me with that statement there. Once again, you prove something and you've been caught and your head has been chopped. Now we can pass it to Michael and I'm telling you, man, the brothers is getting whooped, man, because they don't know those scripts.
We're speaking Christ's teachings.
Bro, can you go there?
Matthew 25, 1 and 10.
Exactly. Michael, you shouldn't even be in this conversation because you don't know the Bible.
I'm gonna let you whatever verse you want to go with.
Go ahead, read it.
You don't know the Bible, brother.
I wouldn't read the whole chapter either. We all know about the parable of the 5 foolish virgins.
This brother don't know. He don't know.
All I'm asking is, if it's so unrighteous, why would Christ give an allegory, a righteous allegory for it?
That allegory has nothing to do with a person having multiple wives. He don't know the Bible. Michael don't know the Bible. But you are playing semantics. You're playing semantics. That allegory has nothing to do with a man taking multiple wives. Watch this. Hold your peace, people. Please hold your peace. I haven't yielded the mic yet. When you read about it, it says, Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened to 10 virgins which took lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took the oil in the vessels with their lamp. Now bridegroom tarried. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, and behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out, meaning they wisdom and understanding.
Right.
And it says, but the wise answered, say, Not so, lest there be not enough for us. But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And when they went to buy, the bridegroom came. And they that were ready went into with him to the marriage. And the door was shut. Afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open up. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Now, when we read in Matthew's earlier, what else did Christ said, I know you not?
And it'll be some on the left hand and the right hand. And then he'll say, I have not known you.
I have not known you. What was those people doing that made Christ say he had not known them?
We'll be talking about they cast out spirits in his name and
right,
all of this.
Right. But they were obviously what? Not keeping commandments. They were sinning. So this allegory had nothing to do with him taking multiple wives. This allegory had everything to do with 5 keeping the commandments and 5 not keeping it. Showing that how some people would play with the grace period all the way to Christ's return. And then they would be too late to get it right.
Right.
And some would keep it until the day that he returned and enter into the marriage. So, brother, like I said, you won't beat us with that one. That's what you're doing is trying to play semantics. It's working with Michael, but it's not working with One Nation.
How many allegories did Christ give on multiple subjects? I don't understand.
But is that not a righteous allegory?
It's an allegory. It's an allegory.
Okay, so was it righteous? Yes or no?
What do you mean? Was it righteous? I don't understand.
Were 5 of the virgins righteous?
Explain it.
This brother too, man.
We know righteousness. What are you saying? Why don't you?
Michael, you shouldn't be in this today.
You know what? Let's it's just crazy how I can't get no wait, hold on, bro. I've been letting you talk for hella, man. Let me say something real quick, bro. You guys are deflecting like crazy, man. 1 Corinthians 7, hold on. 1 Corinthians 7 and 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth, that both they that have wives be as though they had none. What does that mean?
Okay. Now, I'm just well, Michael. Let me see if you know what he's talking about first. You know.
I don't understand. I'm trying to find out the correlation. Why are you calling me right?
Okay, hold on. See, Michael don't know what he's doing. Michael don't know scriptures. I don't even know why he's engaged in this conversation. Now, Solomon, what does that verse mean? Who is he talking to?
All this, who he was talking to, all he was simply saying is, any man who have wives, all you men who have wives. Simply what he was saying.
Bingo. This wasn't directed to one specific person, and he's saying you with wives. No, he was saying he was addressing multiple people at once. All you that have wives. That's what that verse is going into. Once again, you can't beat us with that foolishness, brother. Now, Michael should be eliminated. Just deal with us now. Because Michael don't know the scripts. But with the verses you pulling, you cutting and shooting yourself in the foot, man. That verse is not talking about a man having multiple wives. That verse was talking to a multitude of men and all those who have men, all those men he was talking to, they had wives.
I'm asking questions that haven't got answered that I asked 20 minutes ago. So
Michael can't give you an answer. Michael don't know the scripture, but I'll give you answers that shows that what you already done. This is a slaughter. This would be a slaughter.
That means that when you're out there like you got brothers now, you're there.
Throw the towel. That would be the 10 count. That would be the 10 count. All right. So, hold your peace. All right. Check this out. On One Nation Israelite School, I would like to take the one-on-one debate on this particular subject. Give me the one-on-one. This junk here would be mad. This is mad because you got one person don't know the scripts at all. I don't even know why they wasting time. The other one, you put in some answers. Give me the one-on-one in this particular subject. I'm out. One Nation Israelite School, shalom.